Hello folks, can you believe it? This year, in fact this month, April 2012, marks the 20th anniversary of the U.S. Marshals and the FBI siege at Ruby Ridge in northern Idaho. I'll be back in just a moment to explain why we're going to discuss this topic today. I'm Jerry Johnson, and I welcome you to another edition of Against the World. Randy Weaver and his family had moved from Iowa to Idaho to live a more simple life and to shield themselves and their children from what they saw as corruption of nearly every facet of modern American culture. They were mistakenly devoted to the belief that the world had entered the last days, believing that the mountains of northern Idaho would give them a level of protection. Because of Weaver's sympathies as a white separatist, government agencies such as the FBI and the United States Marshals Service set Weaver up on a weapons charge. An undercover agent convinced the cash-strapped Weaver to saw off a few shotguns in violation of state and federal law, thereby rendering the guns illegal. Knowing that he had been set up, Weaver retreated to his mountain fortress, not coming down for nearly a year. The government offered him a deal to drop the charges if he would infiltrate a radical, and might I add, godless, neo-Nazi group called the Aryan Nations. But Weaver refused. Attempting to make good on the arrest warrant, the Marshal Service eventually engaged Weaver and his family, with the results being Weaver's only son Sammy and Weaver's wife Vicky were killed. Both Weaver and a family friend were injured during the government siege, and a U.S. Marshal was killed during the firefight. So who's to blame for this tragedy? Surely there is enough to go around. But what struck me as I read through old reports and watched media coverage of the events which aired before and after the assault on the Weaver home was all the misinformation put out to the public about Randy Weaver. This is what Dr. Francis Schaeffer called and warned the church about. He said it was media manipulation. Unconfirmed stories were leaked by government agencies and spread by the media in an attempt to paint Randy Weaver as a nutcase. Reports including that Weaver had fired upon a surveillance helicopter and that he was wanted for bank robbery in neighboring states were commented on just by about every single news agency. Weaver was mistakenly identified as a white supremacist, and federal agencies and the media promulgated the unsubstantiated rumor that Weaver, a former Green Beret, had more than likely placed booby traps and landmines around his property. You want to know something, folks? These charges, which were reported by numerous news outlets, were totally 100% false. Not a single one was true. Weaver, who was clearly guilty of the gun charge, was demonized by the media just as the government wanted him to be. This demonization justified every illegal action perpetrated on the Weaver family and ultimately led to the 3 deaths mentioned earlier. Now, my point in rehearsing these events, if this can happen to the Weaver family, then couldn't it happen to anyone? In the former Soviet Union, the official news agency, TASS, received their marching orders from the Communist Party. They did not question, but read the stories each night over the airwaves. The government could destroy whomever they wanted, and they could do it without any recourse. So here's my question. Seriously, in light of the Randy Weaver case and numerous others I could cite, how is the American media really any different? Until next time, this is Jerry Johnson, standing contra mundum against the world.